Okay, it's Thursday, June 11th. Time for our 2-minute drill. There's the question out there, and everyone wants to know, is Carson Wentz, Ben, is he an underrated quarterback?
I don't think he is underrated. I think most people think he's an above-average quarterback, me included. But I think it's hard to say he's safely in that top 5 to 10 range. If you look at his career, he's only graded above 80 one year, 2017, and then his grade has dropped in 2018 and then again in 2019. Obviously, at the end of the year, he was throwing to a group of misfits at wide receiver. But I think he just needs to show more consistency and bounce back with a really strong 2020 for us to consider him in that elite group of quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think the only way you can make the case that he is underrated is if you say that 2017 version of Carson Wentz is the guy that he is all of the time, because that player, was arguably a top 5 quarterback. He had a PFF grade of about 85. And if you got that guy every single year, I think you could make the case that he was underrated, but that's looking more and more like an outlier in his career. And he was really, really good at the unsustainably good stuff, incredible third and long kind of numbers. So it was inevitable, I think, that he would regress a little bit. And that player, I don't think is underrated.
Yeah, I like Carson Wentz. I don't think he is an underrated player. His $32 million a year ranks 6th among active quarterbacks right now. That doesn't suggest that he's underrated. In fact, he's very highly paid. And I think there are some questions when it concerns his overall health and availability, right? And so it forced the team to go out and take out an insurance policy by using their second-round pick on Jalen Hurts. And so there is some questions there, but I don't think he's underrated at all. In fact, I think if he continues to show up and if he can stay healthy and continue to produce at the same rate, then I believe that this guy is going to fulfill all the promise, but certainly not underrated.
Now, Sally, you wrote an article breaking down the top of the tight end position on PFF.com. So if you include Kittle and Kelce, and if you want to throw Gronk in there at the top, who is the next guy at tight end that you're taking, Sam?
Yeah, well, you name my guy. I'm going to go with Rob Gronkowski. A little bit of a projection because obviously he's had a year out of the game. And I think it's fair to say that he won't return to his very, very best play. So he's not going to be there with Kittle or Kelce, but he might be the next best guy in the league, even with this shadow of his former self. Gronk was so good when he was at his best that I think if he's gotten any way healthy over the last 12 months, got himself into wrestling shape for whatever that's worth, I think Gronk coming back, playing with Brady, is still going to be amongst the best tight ends in the NFL.
And guys, probably the most stable metric for determining how good a tight end is a guy who can really get separation in single coverage. That's never been Gronk's strength, right? Where he ranks and how he rates in that statistical category isn't very high, but he doesn't have to get separation in order to still catch the ball. I think he's one of the greatest tight ends of all time, certainly in the conversation with Kittle and Kelce. But if you had to go outside of that group beyond Gronk, I would have to say it's Zach Ertz with the Philadelphia Eagles. He ranks 2nd in terms of his ability to separate in single man coverage, but he also thrives and is highly productive against zone coverage as well. Here's a guy that I think over the last 3 years, behind Kelce, he's had more receptions for touchdowns and first downs than any other tight end in the game. So Zach Ertz, highly productive, whether it's man or zone coverage.
I like Ertz, but I'm going to stick in Philadelphia with the other tight end, Dallas Goedert. If you look at the last 2 years, the only 2 tight ends to grade top 10 in run blocking and receiving are Goedert and Kelce. And I think that ability to come in line, have defenses respect you with their personnel is big, because otherwise you're looking at bigger slot receivers that they aren't afraid to throw cornerbacks on the field against. So I think Goedert in a featured role, in a bigger role, he would thrive.
I love that Goedert call. I think he's become the more dynamic of the 2 tight ends in Philadelphia. They just haven't yet sort of made the switch in terms of workload and how much they're going to lean on him. Let's wrap this up by naming the best pass rushing duo in the NFL, Solly.
I'd have to go with T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree, and there are a lot of choices here. And I think, Ben, you did a wonderful job of describing the different duos all around the league. And I got to go with T.J. Watt. I think he's an ascending player, continues to get better in terms of his overall grade. He was the highest overall graded edge rusher one season ago. And then he even dragged Bud Dupree with him, right? Bud Dupree starting to produce, not just as an edge rusher, but also as a run defender as well. I think they are an ascending group as they really are part of a pass rush unit, the only one in the entire NFL over the last 3 years with 50 or more sacks. So I got to say it's TJ Watt and Bud Dupree.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure if Bud Dupree can keep up that level of play. But for me, it's in San Francisco. And honestly, you can go Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead or Nick Bosa and Dee Ford, whichever one you want. I think that's the best duo in the NFL. Ford was a guy who played hurt last year for pretty much the entire season, still put up good numbers when he was healthy. And Armstead and Bosa were both top 10 guys at the position. I think they have a really dangerous four-man pass rush with those three guys and Javon Kinlaw when they decide to go in nickel.
The best pass rushing duo in the NFL is Aaron Donald and whoever's going to be there to collect the cleanup pressure that Aaron Donald causes for them. Last season, it was Dante Fowler. This year, maybe Leonard Floyd. But it honestly doesn't matter. Aaron Donald and a tackling dummy would be the best pass rushing duo in the NFL because Donald is that damn good at rushing the passer. He's the best pass rusher in the NFL by a distance. One of only two players in PFF's history to top 100 total pressures over a season, leads the league in pressure rate, pressures, pass rush win rate. When you count in those extra plays that don't count as pressures, over pretty much any period of time, he is a dominant force. And honestly, it doesn't matter who else you want to throw in there with him. That's the best duo.
Even if I'm the other guy, right?
Hell yeah.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.